Suicide has caused 1 in every 100 deaths in the year 2021.
Anxiety, depression, burnout. These words are no longer limited to adults.
The new research challenges the old saying that things get worse before they get better. For today's youth, it seems happiness may just come with it.
Across India, a mental health crisis is brewing quietly but urgently.
And it has cumulatively taken the lives of around 7,27,000 people in the year 2021 alone. And for every one death, for every one suicide, around 20 attempts were made. Now this tragic data is reviewed by the World Health Organization, and the two reports released by WHO, one is World Mental Health Today and the second one is World Health Atlas of 2024. And these reports also reveal that more than a billion people today, out of the 7.5 billion people in the world, more than a billion people today live with mental disorders or live with mental illnesses. Also, country-wise files related to the pandemic impact will be released very soon as a part of the updated Mental Health Atlas. Now, speaking strictly, mental health is a very integral part of the overall health of an individual. It is more than the absence of mental illnesses, which is why mental health is not just a very emotive issue, it's not just a very sensitive issue, but it's a very important issue which needs to be addressed in relation to the overall health of an individual. Which is why today's session would be focusing on mental health issues across the world and in India. Why mental health issues are so common, what is the status of mental health across the world, and what are the different initiatives being taken by the Indian government in order to solve these kind of issues in India and abroad as well. All these things we'll be trying to understand in this particular session. Hello, my name is Preetpal Singh and you are watching Perspective. Now, when we talk about mental health, according to World Health Organization, mental health is a state of well-being in which every individual realizes their own true potential. Also, they can cope with the normal stresses of life as well, and also can work productively, and is also able to contribute to his or her community. This is what mental health actually means, which is your mind being healthy enough to function. And also, World Health Organization emphasizes on living and having a healthy mental state. And WHO says that it involves more than just being free of mental illnesses or mental impairments. It is a positive aspect and a positive side towards mental health, which is why mental health is a fundamental human right, essential for socioeconomic, communal, and personal growth of individual as well. Now, once we talk about issues related to mental health, there can be numerous disorders related to it. Anxiety and depressive disorders are the most common disorders amongst the people in the world altogether, making up around 2/3 of the mental health conditions in the year 2021 alone. Also, one startling fact which we can see is from the year 2011 to 2021, mental disorders grew faster than the population growth in the world, and also raising the global age standardized prevalence to 13.6%, a 0.9% increase in a decade we can see. And if we talk about age-related trends and different age groups, amongst young people, young individuals, young adults who are from the age of 20 to 29 years, there is the largest increase in prevalence of mental health disorders from the year 2011. Which means there is a plus 1.8% prevalence increase amongst this age group. Now, from the children's age group, that is under 10 years of age, depressive disorders are rare, kind of rare. Now, the third category, which is very important, which is altogether a different category, is middle-aged adults, which means individuals from 40 to 69 years of age. Depressive disorders, they surpass anxiety. And also, it peaks from 50 to 69 years of age as well. Now, since we have understood about age-related trends, you might have a question that is there any gender-related trend as well? Is there any difference between disorders or mental illnesses suffered by male or female? The answer is yes. In case of males, especially, they are prone to ADHD syndrome, that is attention deficit hyperactivity syndrome, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Other than that, males usually suffer autism spectrum disorders and intellectual development disorders as well. But in the case of females, it is a bit different. Females are most affected by anxiety, by depression, and eating disorders as well. So that's the peculiar difference between mental illnesses and disorders being faced by males or females at a large level. Now, this list is not exhaustive, and this is not a hard fact. but this is some observations which we have seen over the years. Now, while we have discussed so much about mental health, if we discuss about the status and the burden of mental health in India, you will be startled to know that the WHO has estimated that the burden of mental health problems in India is 2443, that is 2443 disability adjusted life years per 10,000 population. So which means around 2443 disability or disability adjusted life years per 10,000 population. The age adjusted suicide rate per 10,000 population is 21.1%. Also, while we're talking about the burden of mental health, the burden which we must not forget is the economic burden. So around 1.03 trillion US dollars are projected between 2013 or 2012 to 2030, which have been lost due to mental health conditions. Around $1.03 trillion have been lost in those 15 years because of mental health problems, mental health disorders in the country. Also, while we are talking about India, we must know that 15% of adult population in India experiences mental health related issues. Urban areas, they have a higher prevalence of 13.5% compared to the rural areas, which is around 6.9%, because the familial attributes still present in India. Now, why there are mental health issues, especially in the urban areas, again, we'll be discussing while we discuss on the reasons. But the last thing for us to know is that the lifetime prevalence of mental disorders in India is around 13.7%. Also, one more interesting thing is that the economic survey of 2023-2024 also highlighted this mental health issue at large and also discussed extensively about mental health, its significance and its implications on policy recommendations in the country as well. Now, taking a cue from this, we need to understand how bad mental health impacts people. See, the negative impact of mental health, it can be psychological, it can be emotional, it can be economic, it can be social, and it can be on the productivity as well. So, for example, let's take an example of impact on productivity. Poor mental health or bad mental health leads to lower workspace productivity, leads to lower workspace performance. Also, there is increased cases in instances of absenteeism, and also overall efficiency of the work gets reduced because of mental health disorders. That is first thing. Now, because of this inefficiency in work, there can be a lot of economic costs associated with it as well. And there can be huge economic losses as well. And which is why I've already told you that the economic loss due to the mental health conditions in India has been to the tune of $1.03 trillion from the year 2012 to the year 2030. So there is a negative impact on the productivity. There is huge economic cost as well. Now, social and emotional well-being of an individual also gets drained. So alongside the social interactions, self-confidence also gets impacted due to bad mental health. So overall, there can be social cost. Overall, there can be emotional cost where a person might become vulnerable after getting those mental health disorders. And the actual problem in addressing the well-being of individuals who are suffering these problems is first the infrastructural gap in the country. First, the people are not aware, and those who are aware do not have requisite ways of checking and getting treated of whatever the mental illness, mental disorder they have, mental problem they have. The first very prominent issue in challenging and addressing the mental health is the treatment gap, which means it says that according to the National Mental Health Survey of 2015-2016, around 70 to 69% of those affected do not receive any treatment, which is such a huge quantity of people do not receive treatment, even if they know that they are suffering with a mental illness or a disorder. That is a problem. As I've told you, there is shortage of personnel, there is shortage of infrastructure, the number of teachers which are required, the number of professors which are required, the number of other staffs which are required. Right now, they are not decided yet. No, so there is a shortage of professionals as well. There's a problem with the professionals as well. India is having only 0.75 psychiatrists per lakh population, which is far below than the WHO recommended of around 3 psychiatrists per 1 lakh population. This basically limits the timely diagnosis and the treatment. And if diagnosis and treatment cannot begin at a faster pace, the situation of individual might worsen. Which is why what is required? More and more doctors, more and more paramedic staffs, more and more institutions, more and more mental health hospitals, psychiatric hospitals are required in the country so that these issues can be dealt with in an efficient way. And those who want the help, they can get all the necessary help by the government. And this makes us come to the last segment, that what are the initiatives government has already introduced in order to ensure the mental health problem gets treated for the people very easily. And the first of the initiative of the government of India is the Mental Health Care Act of 2017. Now, this particular act, it ensures equal legal status for mental and physical health, mandating insurance coverage and rights-based treatment for mental illnesses as well. That is the first initiative of its kind. That is Mental Health Care Act of 2017. Now, other than this, your National Mental Health Care Program, which is again a very important initiative for solving the national mental health problems amongst the individuals. The National Institution for Mental Health and Neurosciences being created. The National Tele-Mental Health Program being created. Also Tele-MANAS, which is a nationwide tele-mental health initiative offering 24/7 digital counseling and support, especially for the undeserved, especially for the remote sections of the society, remote people of the country. This Tele-MANAS program has been launched by the government. Other than that, National Suicide Prevention Strategy of 2022 have been thought of. Kiran Helpline has been launched. Mano Darpan Initiative has been launched. Several acts have been tweaked with. And alongside this, a lot of different initiatives have been launched by several state governments in India and the central government in India to solve this problem and illnesses related to mental health in our country. We see suicides related to mental health or damages caused by the mental health on humans, on other individuals, on the society at large as well. The cost of it is very, very high, which is why we need to ensure that we solve these type of issues amongst the individuals at the earliest. We provide them with proper care, we provide them with proper treatment, and then we provide them with the proper environment in order for them to grow in special circumstances. Promotion of mental health and well-being should be at the top priority of any government which takes place. And since the Indian culture since the start has been deeply rooted with the family traditions, where mental health gets automatically refreshed due to the family being close together, if not talking to one individual and talking to another, this nuclear family system in a country has created silos, which has created a lot of individualistic centric energies in the country, in the society. Because of that, people like to keep more with themselves, and which is why more individualistic tendencies are there. They'll be sitting on a table of 4 people, but an individual will be sitting alone. Because of this, the intensity of increasing mental illness is much higher than before. Use of artificial intelligence, use of technology, but still having a mental illness problem won't serve any purpose. So while we need to focus on a lot of other things going in and around the world, what we again need to focus on is what is in our mind. Once we focus on that and we take a help which is requisitely required, we'll be able to come out of it, and we'll be able to solve this problem at a very great length. Especially students who suffer from these mental health problems, what they should be doing is first of all informing their near and dear ones, going for a counseling session or a therapy session with their psychologists, talking to a psychologist first rather than directly going for psychiatrists. This is what our advice would be, and this is what the whole issue is all about regarding the 2 documents which has been released by the World Health Organization in relation to the mental health of individuals. I hope you gained a new perspective from this session. All the very best. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.